What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you my first impressions of Atom RPG. This is a game I had heard a great deal about, as it is a very prominent indie CRPG, and I, as a channel, cover a lot of CRPGs. So naturally, this one has been kicking around on my to-do list for quite some time, and I'm finally getting around to it. That said, Atom RPG was originally seen on a Kickstarter all the way back in 2017 before seeing a full release at the tail end of 2018 and has since seen a standalone expansion released, I believe it was back in 2021, called Atom RPG Trudegrad. Now, this is a post-apocalyptic CRPG, and it wears its Fallout inspiration on its sleeve. And by inspiration, I mean almost a direct spiritual successor, because having recently played Fallout 1 and 2 for a review, both of those games are almost identical gameplay-wise to Atom RPG. Everything down to the UI, the skill system, even the off-brand humor has seen itself fairly faithfully recreated in Atom RPG. Now, the setting of this title does change a little bit. Whereas the Fallout franchise has taken place in a post-apocalyptic United States, Atom RPG takes place in a post-apocalyptic USSR. Because in this world, we are looking at an alternative history where the end of the Cold War was actually nuclear annihilation. And the game itself is supposed to take place, I believe, in 2005, about 19 years, I believe, after the apparent apocalypse. Now, we ourselves are a member of the Atom team, I suppose, which is similar to Fallout's Enclave. It's remnants of the military, etc., who are doing their best to bring civilization back to some normalcy, if you will. But first impressions-wise, again, this game is basically a spiritual successor to Fallout 1 and 2. In many ways, you could consider this Fallout 3, and if you read some reviews on Steam, that is exactly how some people feel about the title. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that if you've played Fallout 1 and 2, you basically know what to expect here in terms of the gameplay mechanics. The inventory has seen an update. The world map is almost the same, except, now we see a slightly 3D version of it. In fact, my experiences with this title have largely reminded me of the cancelled Van Buren project, which was supposed to be Fallout 3, in that the big engine update for that title was supposed to make the next entry in the Fallout franchise, which was ultimately cancelled, a 3D experience, and moving it off of the 2D pre-rendered sprite system that they used. But that said, while there are obvious changes to account for the fact that you are in the USSR, or what is left of it in this particular universe, it is nonetheless Fallout. And as such, and with most post-apocalyptic games, we are doing our best to survive in a harsh wasteland that is radioactive, teeming with mutants, bandits, criminal activity, and just otherwise unsavory business. And naturally, there is a bit of a mystery for us to solve. We are actually tracking down a missing Atom team that was searching for a lost bunker, which is the actual premise of the story. But to kind of wrap this up so I don't ramble on too long and save some things for the review, my first impression is that just across the board, this is a spiritual successor to Fallout in almost every way possible. From the gameplay mechanics to the UI, it's almost as if the team said, let's just make a more modern version of Fallout 1 and 2, and that's exactly what Atom RPG feels like to me, which is not a bad thing. I've been enjoying the experience quite a bit so far. I do not get the impression this is a terribly long game, so how long this actually takes is still kind of up in the air. I'm hoping it'll only be maybe a week or two, but we'll certainly have to see, as there are some titles upcoming that I would like to jump into. So it's hard to say exactly how long playing through this one is going to take, but nonetheless, I'm looking forward to doing so, as I have enjoyed what I've played of it so far quite a bit. So with all of that said, thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.